Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, classmates. I am Carlo Ritual, taking up Master of Arts in Science Education. So for today's lesson, I am going to discuss about the curriculum and its shaping forces. And then for our objectives, we have to define curriculum, determine different foundations of curriculum, and lastly, identify approaches to curriculum design. But what is curriculum? So where does curriculum come from? And why is it important to have a curriculum in the school? So an effective curriculum provides teachers, students, and school leaders to a quality education that will help them to achieve their goals and to teach and to learn effectively. And now, let's have an idea about the curriculum. So as you can see in my presentation, I have here some examples or ideas about curriculum. When we say curriculum, it is the heart of the school. Also, I have here the set of courses, differences of learners or diversity of learners, the experience of the learners inside the school, and then the society, the quality education provided by the teacher, and the list of subjects. So, when we say curriculum, it is the heart of the school. Then, if the curriculum doesn't exist, then school doesn't exist too. Like, for example, if people do not have the heart, all of us could die. Just like if we do not have curriculum, the education could die also, or it can lead to a disaster of learners and teachers. When we say curriculum, also it is the sum total of the learning experiences and activities done in the school, even if outside the school, as long as it is related to the school activities, it is part of the curriculum. So it is important because it serves as a guide for teachers. For example, when the teacher knows what the curriculum of the school is, there will be no gaps in teaching and learning process because curriculum helps teacher to clearly delivers the lesson and provide quality education. Also, they know what instructional materials will be used in the class. And having a good curriculum will assure that students will experience quality education. So we know that all of us are different in terms of gender, in terms of age, intelligences, interests, cultural background, and strengths and needs. So good curriculum will guide us teachers to execute our lesson effectively and what instructional materials to be used in order for the students to learn. So now let's proceed to foundations of curriculum. When we say foundations of curriculum, it is where the curriculum derives in terms of theories, principles, and ideas. It is how our curriculum established or started by a well-known people. So to make it short, it is how the foundations improved and developed our curriculum until today. So let's start with the philosophical foundation. So I put here some examples of philosophical foundations. But when we say philosophical foundation, it deals with the study of philosophy that helps us deal with our personal system of beliefs and values. So when we say philosophy, it is an activity of the people who undertake or seeks to understand fundamental truths. So according to Alistair 2000, that he argues that there is no curriculum that does not draw inspiration from these philosophical schools of thoughts. So if we are unclear or confused about our own beliefs, then as curricular plans are bound to be unclear or confusing. So one important step in developing a personal philosophy of education is to understand the various alternatives that others have developed over the years. So, for example, philosophical foundation, we have here first perennialism. So, when we say perennialism, the role of this in our curriculum is to teach classical subjects and literary analysis. For example, great books like Bibles or history. So that is perennialism. One of the proponents is Thomas Aquinas, wherein he believed that God is the central aim of education. And then the next one is we have essentialism. So when you say essentialism, the role of this in our curriculum is to teach essential skills or 3 R's, just like reading, writing, and arithmetic, or the basics, and like essential subjects of English, science, history, and math. One of the proponent of essentialism is William Bagley, wherein he promoted a core of traditional subject as essential to a good education. The third one is progressivism. When we say progressivism, it is uh, the focus of progressivism in curriculum is to focus on student interest. So we should our classroom should be integrative and interactive. One of the proponent of progressivism is John Dewey, wherein he proposed learning by doing. Just like the example in my presentation, the students are doing experiments in science. They learn by doing. And then the last one is reconstructionism. When we say reconstructionism, it focuses on present and future trends and issues of national and international interest. So one of the proponent of reconstructionism is Theodore Bramel. He said that we need education for change. And for what? Of course, to improve and reconstruct the society. If we have good curriculum, therefore we have a quality education, and that is the way to reconstruct the society. And then now, let's proceed to historical foundation. But where is curriculum development coming from? So, the historical foundation will show to us chronologically along a timeline. But we have here some well-known people that contributes to the historical foundation. First one is Franklin Bobbitt. So Franklin Bobbitt, he started curriculum development, and then he wrote the book, The Curriculum. So Franklin Bobbitt started the curriculum development. So according to him, objectives and activities should group together when tasks are classified. So it means that the objectives and activities is or should align. And then the next one is Weret Charters. So he agreed with Bobbitt that activities and objective should match. Subject matter and content is related to objectives. So it is true that we need to align the objectives in the activities of the students in order for them to evaluate or to know what they have learned in the specific topic. The third one is William Kilpatrick. So William Kilpatrick, uh, the contribution of William Kilpatrick in curriculum is we should that it should be child centered. So the purpose of the curriculum is child development and growth. So he introduced this project method where teacher and student plan the activities. So in short, the focus of William Kilpatrick contribution to the curriculum is child-centered or learner-centered. And then the last one in historical foundation is Hollis Caswell, wherein he said that curriculum is a set of experiences. So subject matter is developed around social function and learners' interest. So just like William Kilpatrick, it focuses on the child development, wherein it is child-centered. The third one, we have psychological foundation. So when we say psychological foundation, it provides a basis to understand the teaching and learning process. So how should curriculum be organized to enhance learning? And what is the optimal level of students' participation in learning the various contents of the curriculum? So when we say psychological foundation, it changes the behavior of the students. So one of the proponents of psychological foundation is Ivan Pavlov, which is classical conditioning. He proposed stimulus to response theory. So he said that train your child in their early years in order to achieve what they want to be in the future. Just like my example in the presentation, the S2R theory, which wherein yung unconditioned stimulus is yung food ng dog, and then yung unconditioned response ng dog is yung salivation. And then after that, he bring a bell to ring it, and then he is waiting for the response of the dog. So the unconditioned response of the dog is no salivation. But when Pavlov combined the bell ring and the food, the unconditioned unconditioned response of the dog is salivation. And then later on, he removed the food, and then and then he put the bell to rig, and then the dog's condition response is salivation. It is because Pavlov trained the dog that if he bell the ring, then the response of the dog is salivation. So that is to change the behavior of the dog. And then the next one is Edward Thorndike. Edward Thorndike proposed three laws of learning, which is law of readiness, law of exercise, and law of effect. So when we say law of readiness, it is it is about to being prepared in a class. So for example, when a student is mentally prepared before the exam, therefore he or she will get a positive result. So that is law of readiness. And the next one is law of exercise. When we say law of exercise, it is to practice or to have a drills. So for example, when a student continues studying at home every day, therefore he or she will easily understand the lesson. It is because of the practice that the student continues. And then the last one is law of effect. So when we say law of effect, for example, if the student feels that every time he get the student uh, every time the student get the high score in the exam, he is more likely to repeat that action because he knows what are the rewards or what are the outcome of his high score in exam. That's why he is more likely to repeat that behavior. And then the last one is BF Skinner. So si BF Skinner, he proposed operant conditioning wherein we have reinforcement and punishment. So when we say positive reinforcement, something is added to increase the likelihood of a behavior. So for example, if the student got a high score in exam, you will give him or her chocolate. So that is positive reinforcement. And when we say negative reinforcement, it has something is removed to increase the likelihood of behavior. For example, if the student got a high score in exam, he or she will be exempted in the quiz. So that is negative reinforcement. And then the next one, we have the punishment or the positive punishment. When we say positive punishment, something is added to decrease the likelihood of a behavior. So if the student is playing Mobile Legends in the class, you will give him or her additional tasks. So that is positive punishment. While negative punishment is it is something is removed to decrease the likelihood of a behavior. So for example, if the student is playing Legends in the class, you will remove or confiscate his or her mobile phone. So that is negative punishment. So now let's proceed to sociological foundation. So when we say sociological foundation, it is about the society. So we know that society is ever changing. So we have problems in the society. So the role of sociological foundation in curriculum is that the society is a source of